Problem number 1, pre-snap penalties. The Browns could not get out of their own way. They were constantly behind the sticks. Look at the week 1 penalties that were just accepted, by the way. There were plenty that the Cowboys did not have to accept because they were happy to get off the field on 3rd down. 2 false starts, Dawand Jones. 1 ineligible man downfield, Dawand Jones, I believe. Holding on Cedric Tillman. Illegal formation, also on Dawand Jones. Illegal shift on Amari Cooper. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times the Browns find themselves just right off the bat going the wrong way. That is not going to help any offense, a good or a bad one, as Tom Brady pointed out numerous times, to be successful if you are constantly in 3rd and long. The Browns were in preseason form, which is why I said during the preseason, I would like to see the starters play. I would like to see Deshaun Watson play. Now, whether or not Deshaun Watson or the Browns made the decision for him not to play in week 3 of the preseason in Seattle, I don't know, and that's going to be a little bit of a mystery for us. But ultimately, there were a lot of issues with the Browns offense that I felt like could have been wrinkled out in the preseason. Now, the reason why I put these penalties at the top of my list is just roll back the tape for a moment here, and let's take a bad stroll down memory lane. I mean, this is early in the game here, right? You've got, look at that. First, 2nd down and 12? How about this here? On 4th and 2, Dawand Jones, remember this on the first drive for the Browns? They were going to go for it on 4th and 2. He jumps, false start, 4th and 7. Browns kick a field goal. Could have kept the drive alive, maybe get 7 points. Instead, they settle for 3. Moving on in the first quarter, 1st and 15. I mean, before you even really get going to work, you move back 5 yards. This one's so poetic, it's showing the penalty yardage while the Browns are at 2nd and 14. I mean, fast forward again. Here they are, 2nd and 11, just constantly going the wrong way on 1st and 2nd down. I mean, 3rd and 7, this was probably the best time the best 3rd down the Browns had all day, and it was still not a great situation at 3rd and 7. It was 3rd and 2, but once again, 5-yard penalty, illegal shift. Amari Cooper moves him back and takes what could have been a much easier. Now, at this point, the game's out of hand pretty much, but still, this was just a good example of the Browns all day shooting themselves in the foot. Now, you can't put all those penalties on Deshaun Watson, but going 2 for 15 on 3rd downs, that's not going to cut it. You're not going to win a lot of games if you find yourself in those long situations. And as Tom Brady pointed out, it doesn't matter how great of an offense you are. 3rd and long, those are very difficult to convert. It's tough to convert 3rd and 10. You make it 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, you are not going to be successful. Problem number 2, Deshaun Watson. Just as a whole, did not play well. Not entirely his fault for the result, but he struggled in week 1, right? 169 yards, 1 touchdown to Jerry Jeudy, 2 interceptions. I kind of feel for him on the first one because he seems to be the victim of a lot of tip passes that just fall right to the DB. So maybe a little bit unlucky in that regard with Micah knocking the ball up and Kendricks coming down with it and not hitting the ground. But still, like, not a very accurate throw to Elijah Moore that falls to Trayvon Diggs. It was not good. Like, I'm not going to try and sell anyone some magic beans that, well, actually, Deshaun Watson was not that bad and you can distribute all the blame to everywhere else. No, it was not good, but it was not benchable. Like, I don't think after week 1, that's the kind of quarterback play that gets benching. It's week 1, everyone. There's 17 games in the season. Slow down a little bit. Like, you just can't throw the playbook that you've been working on all offseason and summer long out the window after a rough first game. That is just not the way the NFL operates. These guys have been working way too hard and for way too long to just light it on fire because of a tough first game. I'm sorry, but that's just not the world we live in. That's not going to happen. Now, before we expand more on Deshaun Watson and his struggles, make sure to get started with our friends at Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One thing I really like about Game Time is their all-in pricing option. Toggling this feature shows you the total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets today with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. So just to kind of summarize step 2 of these problems here, though, before we talk about the offensive line, Deshaun Watson was just inaccurate far too many times, and the offense finding themselves in second and third and long, and then we'll get to problem number 4 in a second, which didn't help problem number 2. Watson tried to bite it all off at once and was honestly just ineffective. It was not good play. Not all of it his fault. But Deshaun Watson, definitely a part of the problem for Sunday. Problem number 3, though, the offensive line. They picked a bad day to have a bad day because you had Watson, who was not really on his A game. You had all the pre-snap penalties, which part of it falls on the offensive line. They were victims of this, but putting the offense behind schedule. And then you had just bad games from some of your better players. Joel Bitonio, look at the PFF pass blocking grades. 34.7. Like, there was that one play where Deshaun Watson had the deep pass to Amari Cooper, which was dropped for a surefire touchdown. But who led up the interior defensive lineman that lit up Watson? That was Bitonio. Dawand Jones, he did not have a good day. Like, man, they can't wait to get Jack Conklin back. 6 sacks, 9 pressures, 5 hits. Now, Deshaun Watson is a problem with this as well. He is not, like, getting out of this scot-free. Deshaun Watson needs to get rid of the ball quicker. He is holding on to it way too long, which is why the hits and the sacks are not solely on the offensive line, but they definitely did not have a great game plan for Micah Parsons, who is somewhat wreaking havoc on this offensive line. But Watson, bottom line, if you know you don't have your top 2 tackles, don't hold on to the ball for 6-7 seconds. Like, it's not going to be a good outcome. He looked like he was playing college football out there. NFL defensive linemen are too fast to do that to. You can get away with it from time to time, and sometimes it's awesome and you're a magician and you look like Patrick Mahomes out there, but a lot of time you end up taking a big sack, and that's what happened to Watson. And after last year, you'd think, hey, priority number 1, protect our quarterback. You would think that would result in get the ball out quickly. So I'm not sure if Watson was just completely disobeying the offensive game plan from Ken Dorsey, or if Ken Dorsey has not installed an offense where the ball needs to come out quickly. There was clearly a misalignment between OC, head coach, and quarterback on what the plan was with the football. Did you want to go deep with it? Did you want to get the ball out on schedule? Did you want to go on short dink and dunks? I mean, a lot of Watson's completions were close to the line of scrimmage, which would signal, hey, we're going to get the ball and we're going to get it out quickly. Well, then is Watson just completely ignoring that by running around for 6 to 7 seconds? Or is there, hey, Watson, hold on to it and go for the big home run play? They're not on the same page, clearly. That is a problem. But the offensive line just not having a good Sunday. There's no other way to dice it up. Like, not all of it's their fault, but they did not have a good day. Now, we have a lot of football in front of us, and I'm not giving up after one Sunday. So if you're not giving up either, join over 36,000 strong. We cross another 1,000 mark here at the channel. So thank you so much to everyone who joined the channel during our watch party on Sunday. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already. And if you are subscribed, send it to a friend or a family member that loves the Browns. Tell them to join the channel too. Problem number 4, lack of a ground game. This was bad, but not having a ground game to lean on made it 10 times worse. I mean, Jerome Ford, 12 carries for 44 yards. One of those carries was that 11-yard run in the fourth quarter or late in the third when this game was over. I mean, just take that 1 11-yard run out. He's got 11 carries for 33 yards. We're talking about a guy maybe getting 3 yards a pop. Just no burst, no explosion from the ground. Deshaun Watson was basically your best rusher, 5 carries for 39 yards. And I don't even count the Jerome Ford touchdown. It was in garbage time, irrelevant in my opinion. The Browns need Nick Chubb back badly. And it has shown over the last weeks of the 2023 season. And I was very concerned throughout the offseason that if the Browns trotted out Jerome Ford and Deontay Foreman and Pierre Strong Jr. for a handful of weeks, it would be a problem. But then I kind of sold myself on, no, Nick Chubb's going to be back in September. Well, he ain't coming back in September. He's out for 3 more games minimum, and I don't see how they're going to tread water if that's the ground attack. I mean, you guys want to see some sad stats here? From 2018 to 2022, when Nick Chubb got drafted to the year before his injury against the Steelers, the Browns as a team had 13 games with less than 100 rushing yards. In the last 17 games, from the time Nick Chubb went down to now, the Browns have had 8 games with less than 100 rushing yards. 5 years, and they had 13 bad games on the ground. In 1 year, they've nearly conquered that 13 at 8. They cannot continue with no ground game and inconsistent quarterback play. They just can't bank on the defense every single week. It's just not sustainable. There has to be an increase from the offense. And then number 5, it's all the above here. Every single one of these issues, like, snowballs onto the next. Pre-snap penalty. You go from 1st and 10 to 1st and 15. Well, you've got Deshaun Watson not having a great game. So now you get an incomplete pass. The offensive line on 3rd and 15 doesn't hold up, so he's running for his life. Then you come back on 1st and 10 the next series, and immediately you get 1 or 2 yards. All right, you're at 2nd and 8. Guess what happens next? You get a pre-snap penalty. 2nd and 13. Guess what Watson does on 2nd and 13? A bad pass. 3rd and 13. Guess what happens? The offensive line doesn't hold up long enough, and Watson's back to running for his life. Do you not see how this is just a wheel in a circle of death? Every single one makes the next one worse. This is the issue right now. It is not just Watson. If you take out Watson from Sunday and put in Jameis Winston, there is not a different result. Maybe it's 30-14. Sure, it's not going to be an identical score, but it's going to be a 2-score loss minimum because Jameis Winston by himself is not talented enough to overcome all the other issues that were on full display against Dallas. So with that being said, what do you think the single largest issue was for the Browns in week 1? Like, what is the number one thing that must get corrected before Jacksonville? Sure, getting great play out of Watson is an awesome thing to have. I think it's got to start at, let's stop shooting ourselves in the foot on 1st and 2nd down with these dumb pre-snap penalties. We're going backwards. Like, Watson might throw an incomplete pass, but you know what's worse than that? Going the wrong way because you're having illegal shifts. Ineligible man downfield. False starts at home. Stop the penalties. That's step 1 on offense. All right, before we sign off and let you guys get on out of here, I do got to show some love to the Brown and Orange Club, as always, for being proud supporters of the channel. Tim Green, Mike Dibble, Jeremy Stallman, Slow But Sure, David Botner, Jared Brandt, James Harper, Papa T, Joseph DePorte, Mike, Ray Bidding, Dr. No, Eli Green. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. It's always so fun to see you on Sundays during our watch parties. So if you want to get added to the club, $50 super chat, and we'll toss your name on screen to get a shout out all 2024 season long. Quick self-plug before I go. Follow us on Instagram, Browns Report IG. Don't be afraid to hit me up on Twitter as well if you ever want to talk Brownies, at Matthew Petey, or just subscribe to the channel, get in the comments section, and let me know what questions you have.